The last rays of Delta Centauri cast long shadows across Haven's crystalline desert as Commander Sarah Martinez stood atop the observation dome of Sanctuary 1. 200 years had passed since humanity's desperate flight from Earth, yet the weight of that loss still hung heavy in the air of their hidden colony. The dome's smart glass surface displayed streams of data from the colony's deep space sensor array. Haven wasn't much, a harsh world of silicon crystals and thin atmosphere, but it had kept humanity's remnant hidden from the Dominion for 2 centuries. Just over 3 million souls remained from a species that once numbered billions. Commander, Dr. James Chen's voice crackled through her neural implant. We need you in Lab 7. Now. Sarah found James hunched over a containment field, his usually composed features twisted with excitement. Inside the shimming barrier floated what appeared to be a perfect sphere of liquid metal, roughly the size of a basketball. We found it in the crystal caverns, James said without preamble. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. The energy readings. He gestured at a holographic display showing cascading waves of data. It's not just advanced technology, Sarah. It's responding to us, to human consciousness. Sarah studied the sphere, noting how its surface rippled in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. Could it be Dominion tech? No. James shook his head emphatically. This predates them by millennia. We've dated the surrounding crystal formation. This object is at least 50,000 years old. The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. The Dominion had claimed to be the first spacefaring civilization, using that assertion to justify their stewardship of younger species. When humanity had advanced too quickly, developed too independently, they had branded us a threat to galactic stability. Their response had been swift and merciless. There's more, James continued. The patterns it's generating, they're not random. It's a language, mathematical at its core, but definitely a form of communication. And Sarah, he paused, his voice dropping. It's teaching us things about space-time, about consciousness, about reality itself. The implications for our quantum drive technology alone are staggering. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. Haven's isolation had protected them, but it had also stagnated their development. They'd maintained their technological level, but innovation had slowed to a crawl as they focused on mere survival. This could change everything. How many people know about this? She asked. Just my core team, and now you. 5 people total. Keep it that way. Increase security, but keep it subtle. If this is what I think it is, Sarah's hands clenched at her sides. This could be our way back. That evening, Sarah stood before Haven's Council of Directors, the 12 men and women who helped her guide humanity's last free colony. The chamber's walls displayed a real-time view of the crystal desert outside, its surface glittering like diamonds under the alien stars. 2 centuries ago, Sarah began, we ran because we had no choice. The Dominions attacked destroyed Earth and scattered our species to the cosmic winds. Those of us who made it to Haven survived through caution, through hiding, through making ourselves small. She activated a hologram of the sphere. That time is over. For the next hour, she and James presented their findings. The sphere wasn't just advanced technology. It was a key to understanding the fundamental forces of the universe in ways their scientists had only dreamed of. More importantly, it proved the Dominion's entire claim to authority was built on lies. We've spent generations asking ourselves how we could have prevented Earth's destruction. Sarah concluded. We've blamed ourselves, our aggression, our independence, but we weren't wrong to reach for the stars. We weren't wrong to forge our own path. The Dominion attacked us because they feared us, because they knew we would eventually discover their deception. She looked at each council member in turn. We've hidden long enough. With what we can learn from this artifact, we can build ships that can outrun their fastest vessels, weapons that can pierce their strongest shields. We can find others who resist their rule. We can take back what they stole from us. The council chamber erupted in fierce debate. Some counseled continued caution, arguing that the risk was too great. Others, their eyes bright with long-suppressed anger, pushed for immediate action. In the end, the vote was unanimous. Operation Prometheus would begin immediately, a comprehensive program to leverage the sphere's knowledge and rebuild humanity's strength. They would move carefully, methodically, but with clear purpose. As the council dispersed, Sarah returned to Lab 7. The sphere pulsed with soft light, its surface now covered in complex, flowing patterns. She placed her hand against the containment field, and for a moment, she could have sworn she felt an answering consciousness reach back. "We're coming back," she whispered, thinking of Earth, of all they'd lost. "And this time, we won't be alone." In the depths of space, unnoticed by the Dominion's vast surveillance networks, humanity's renaissance was about to begin. The quantum forge's light bathed the laboratory in ethereal blue as Dr. Maya Chen calibrated the experimental drive core. 6 months had passed since the discovery of the sphere, and Haven's scientific community had transformed its teachings into technological leaps that would have seemed impossible a year ago. Captain David Reeves watched from the observation deck, his scared face reflected in the reinforced glass. Below, the prototype ship Ghost Dancer waited in its berth, a vessel half the size of a Dominion corvette, but theoretically capable of outmaneuvering their fastest ships. "The quantum matrix is stable," Maya reported, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "The sphere's principles about wave-particle duality at the macro scale are revolutionary. This ship doesn't just move through space. It exists in multiple probabilistic states simultaneously." David nodded, though the physics were beyond him. What he understood was results, and the simulation data was promising. "How soon can we begin actual field tests?" 2 weeks. Maybe less. Maya's eyes never left her instruments. The real challenge isn't the technology anymore. It's keeping it hidden. The energy signatures are unlike anything in known space. If the Dominion detects them, they won't. David's voice was firm. "That's my department." Operation Prometheus had evolved far beyond its initial scope. The sphere hadn't just provided technological insights. It had shown them gaps in the Dominion's supposedly perfect surveillance network, points where signals could be masked, paths through space where their ships never patrolled. In a sealed chamber deep beneath Haven's surface, Sarah Martinez studied the latest intelligence reports. Their first covert teams had already deployed to the edges of Dominion space, gathering information and establishing hidden outposts. The data flowing back painted a picture of an empire far less monolithic than it appeared. "They're stretched thin," Intelligence Chief Yuki Tanaka observed, highlighting sectors on the galactic map. "The Dominion maintains control through fear and the illusion of omnipresence, but their actual military forces are concentrated in key systems. They rely heavily on automated surveillance and client species to maintain order." Sarah traced a pattern through the gaps Yuki had identified. "And their client species. Many are restless. The Dominion's grip has grown more oppressive over the centuries. There are whispers of resistance, especially among the newer additions to their protectorate." Yuki's smile was sharp. "They remember what happened to Earth." The sphere pulsed in its containment field, its surface dancing with complex patterns. They had learned it was more than just a repository of knowledge. It was a key to understanding how the Dominion had maintained power for so long. The quantum technology it taught them wasn't just about transportation or weapons. It allowed them to detect and manipulate the very quantum fields the Dominion used for faster-than-light communication and surveillance. In a secret shipyard carved into Haven's largest moon, the first fleet of quantum-drag ships took shape. Each vessel incorporated lessons learned from centuries of studying Dominion technology, combined with innovations that would have been impossible without the sphere's guidance. They were smaller than their Dominion counterparts, but far more advanced. "We're not just building weapons," Maya explained during a project review. "We're creating a whole new paradigm of space warfare. These ships can phase through traditional shields, appear in multiple locations simultaneously, and coordinate attacks through quantum entanglement that's impossible to intercept. But technology was only part of the equation. Sarah had authorized the formation of special operations teams, drawn from Haven's best and brightest. They trained relentlessly in simulator pods, learning to leverage their new capabilities against Dominion tactics and technology. David oversaw the training personally. The Dominion relies on overwhelming force and rigid doctrine, he told his teams. They haven't fought a real war in thousands of years. Their response protocols are predictable. And that's their weakness. The sphere's revelations had also led them to a startling discovery. The quantum fields it manipulated weren't just useful for technology. They were the same fields that connected living consciousness across space. The Dominion's power wasn't just built on military might. It was built on subtle manipulation of these fields to maintain control over their subject species. They've been suppressing development, creativity, the very spark that makes civilizations advance, Maya theorized. But they couldn't fully suppress humanity's consciousness pattern. That's why they saw us as such a threat. As the first year of Operation Prometheus drew to a close, Sarah stood in the council chamber once more. The holographic displays showed their progress. Hidden bases established, ships ready to launch, teams prepared to strike. But more importantly, they showed something that had been missing from Haven for generations: hope. "We're almost ready," she told the council. "The first phase of active operations can begin within months. But we're not just planning raids or gathering intelligence anymore." She gestured to the galactic map, where dozens of potential allies had been identified. "We're going to build a network of resistance that will shake the Dominion to its foundations." In the quantum forge below, the Ghost Dancer's drive core hummed to life, its quantum field spreading like an invisible web through space-time. In labs and training facilities across Haven, humanity's warriors and scientists prepared for the next phase of their return to the galactic stage. The Dominion had ruled through fear and deception for millennia. They had tried to destroy humanity because they recognized the threat we posed to their order. Now, as Haven's first stealth ships prepared to slip into Dominion space, they would learn just how right they had been to fear us. The shadows of resistance were spreading, and this time, humanity wouldn't be fighting alone. The alien marketplace on Nexus Station hummed with activity, its winding corridors filled with beings from 100 different worlds. Captain Lisa Chen, her features subtly altered by quantum field disguise tech, moved through the crowd with practiced ease. To any observer, she appeared to be just another Centaurian trader, one of the many species that served as the Dominion's merchant class. Her neural implant registered a subtle ping, the signal she'd been waiting for. In a shadowy alcove, a tall, serpentine figure waited. Ambassador Kishar of the Nephilim, though officially here to pay tribute to their Dominion overlords, had other plans. "The evidence you provided," Kishar's translator whispered, their multifaceted eyes scanning constantly for surveillance. "It confirms what many have long suspected. The Dominion's claim to be the first spacefaring race is a lie," Lisa finished, "just like their promises of protection and guidance. We found proof of civilizations that existed long before them. Civilizations they systematically erased from history. The quantum sphere's knowledge had led Haven's researchers to more than just technological breakthroughs. They had discovered evidence of entire civilizations the Dominion had suppressed, their achievements buried beneath millennia of carefully constructed history. Back on Haven, Sarah Martinez studied reports from dozens similar meetings across Dominion space. The network was growing, carefully, quietly, but steadily. The Nephilim weren't the only ones who had begun to question their master's authority. "The Arcturians have pledged their support," Yuki reported, updating the strategic display. "Their quantum scientists have already begun adapting our stealth tech to their ships. The Rigelian resistance movement is gaining strength, and the Pleiades Confederation is secretly channeling resources to our cause." But with each new ally came new risks. The Dominion's security forces had begun to notice patterns: supply shipments going missing, unauthorized communications, unexplained energy signatures. Their response was predictably harsh, cracking down on any hint of dissent. In a hidden base deep within the Oort cloud of an abandoned star system, David Reeves oversaw the training of their first joint operation teams. Humans worked alongside Nephilim infiltrators, Arcturian tactical specialists, and beings from a dozen other worlds, learning to combine their unique abilities and technologies. The Dominion maintains control by keeping us divided, he told the assembled warriors. They exploit our differences, encourage competition and mistrust. But together, we're stronger than they could have imagined. The Ghost Dancer and its sister ships had proven their worth in countless covert operations, their quantum drive technology allowing them to strike and vanish before the Dominion could respond. But now they were joined by vessels of alien design, each incorporating elements of Haven's breakthrough technology, while maintaining their own unique characteristics. Maya Chen had relocated to a secret research facility where scientists from multiple species worked to unlock more of the sphere's secrets. The quantum consciousness patterns they were discovering suggested possibilities that went beyond mere technology. Each species has its own unique resonance, she explained during a secure conference. The Dominion used this to suppress development, but we can use it to enhance cooperation, to create battle networks that operate at the speed of thought. But not all their discoveries were encouraging. Deep in Dominion space, Lisa's team had uncovered evidence of massive construction projects, new weapons platforms, fleet anchorages, and monitoring stations. The Dominion was preparing for something. They know they're losing control, Sarah told the council during an emergency session. Maybe not the full extent of our network, but they can feel their grip slipping. And they're responding the only way they know how, with overwhelming force. The strategic display showed the movement of Dominion fleets, massive concentrations of firepower shifting to key systems. They were tightening their grip, but in doing so, they were leaving other areas exposed. In the Quantum Forge, a new class of ship was taking shape, larger than anything Haven had built before, incorporating technology and insights from all their allies. The Prometheus class would be more than just a warship. It would be a symbol of what unified species could achieve. Keshar, now Haven's primary liaison with the Nephilim resistance, studied the designs with approval. Your quantum drive technology, combined with our phase shift armor and Arcturian power systems, the Dominion has never faced anything like this. The network was growing stronger daily, but time was not on their side. The Dominion's preparation suggested they were planning something big, perhaps a massive operation to root out all hints of resistance at once. Sarah stood in the sphere chamber, watching its ever-shifting patterns. They had learned so much, but she sensed there were still deeper secrets waiting to be discovered. The quantum fields that connected all consciousness across space held more potential than they had yet unlocked. We're not just fighting for revenge anymore, she told her assembled commanders, both human and alien. We're fighting for the right of all species to develop freely, to reach their full potential without artificial constraints. As the first Prometheus-class ship rose from its berth, its quantum fields resonating in harmony with crews from a dozen different worlds, the true power of their network became clear. The Dominion had spent millennia keeping species divided and dependent. They had never faced a true united opposition. That was about to change. The Prometheus's bridge hummed with activity as Sarah Martinez watched the tactical display. Dozens of ships moved in perfect coordination. Human vessels alongside their alien allies, quantum fields synchronized through consciousness-linked battle networks. After 3 years of preparation, the first major offensive against the Dominion was about to begin. Fleet positions confirmed, Lisa Chen reported from her tactical station. The Nephilim strike groups are in position. Arcturian stealth squadrons report ready. The Rigelian defense grid is prepared for activation. Operation Shatterpoint targeted one of the Dominion's most crucial military installations, the Helios Nexus, a massive complex that controlled surveillance and communications for an entire sector. More importantly, it housed one of the quantum consciousness dampeners they'd discovered. devices that suppressed technological and social development across hundreds of worlds. All ships initiate quantum synchronization, Sarah ordered. The bridge lighting shifted as the Prometheus's advanced drive engaged, linking it to its sister ships through fields of probability. They existed simultaneously in multiple positions, making them nearly impossible to target effectively. The first warning the Dominion had was when their quantum communication network suddenly collapsed. Maya's team had cracked their encryption months ago, and now delivered a virus that turned their own systems against them. Across the sector, automated defense platforms went dark. Multiple Dominion capital ships detecting, Kyushar reported from their sensor station. They're moving to defensive positions, but their coordination is compromised. The battle unfolded across space and probability. Ghost Dancer-class ships phased through Dominion shields as if they didn't exist. Nephilim vessels, enhanced with quantum tech, struck from impossible angles. Arcturian gunships appeared and vanished, their advanced weapons overwhelming point defense systems. But the Dominion hadn't ruled for millennia by being unprepared. Massive dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace, their ancient weapons capable of destroying small moons. They had numbers and raw power on their side. They're adapting faster than expected, David Reeves warned from his command of the strike fleet. These ships are different, older designs, but more powerful. They're not relying on their quantum network. Sarah watched as the tactical display shifted. The Dominion forces were falling back on older, more conventional tactics, sacrificing speed and coordination for brute force. A lesser enemy would have broken before their onslaught. But this was not the same humanity they had nearly destroyed centuries ago. This was not a scattered collection of frightened species fighting alone. Execute Pattern Omega, Sarah commanded. Across the battlefield, their forces shifted in perfect synchronization. Ships linked their quantum fields, creating overlapping zones of probability distortion. What appeared to be hundreds of vessels suddenly seemed to multiply into thousands. The sphere's knowledge had taught them more than just technology. It had shown them how consciousness itself could shape reality at the quantum level. As their crews joined minds through the battle network, they didn't just coordinate. They transcended normal spatial limitations. Maya's voice came through the command channel. The dampener's quantum signature is fluctuating. Their defensive measures are failing. We need to strike now. The Prometheus led the charge, its quantum drive pushing the boundaries of possible space. Behind it, ships of a dozen species moved in perfect harmony. They weren't just allies sharing technology. They were a true synthesis, each contributing their unique strengths to create something entirely new. The Dominion's massive dreadnoughts fired world-killing weapons, but their targets existed in multiple states simultaneously. Energy beams passed through phantom images, while real ships struck from unexpected vectors. The battle network anticipated their moves before they made them, countering centuries of tactical doctrine with impossible maneuvers. Primary target is exposed, Lisa reported. Quantum signatures confirm. This is one of their major consciousness suppression nodes. Sarah stood, her neural implant connecting her directly to the battle network. She felt the presence of every ship, every crew member, human and alien alike. Their consciousness resonated together, creating patterns that the Dominion's ancient systems couldn't comprehend. All ships concentrate fire, break their chains. The combined fleet struck as one. Quantum-enhanced weapons, designed with the knowledge of a dozen species, tore through defenses built to last millennia. The massive installation's outer shell cracked, exposing its core to space. As the suppression node collapsed, a wave of quantum energy rippled across the sector. On hundreds of worlds, beings felt something change in their consciousness. A weight lifting, a fog clearing. The Dominion's careful controls began to unravel. But victory came with a price. Several ships were lost, their crews sacrificing themselves to ensure crucial strikes hit home. The Dominion's dreadnoughts, though battered, were pulling back in good order, their commanders adapting to this new form of warfare. They'll be back, Kishore observed as the last enemy ships jumped to hyperspace. And next time, they'll be better prepared. Sarah nodded, watching the quantum patterns ripple across space. They had struck a crucial blow, but this was just the beginning. The Dominion had ruled for thousands of years. They wouldn't fall in a single battle. But as damage reports came in, as crews celebrated their victory, she felt something else through the battle network. Hope spreading like wildfire across the sector. The Dominion wasn't invincible. Their control wasn't absolute. And humanity, once nearly extinct, had helped light the flame of revolution among the stars. "Begin recovery operations," she ordered, "and get me a secure channel to Haven. The real war is about to begin." The Galactic core blazed through the Prometheus's view screen as the combined fleet assembled for their final battle. 6 months had passed since Operation Shatterpoint, and the galaxy had transformed. Hundreds of worlds had risen in open rebellion, casting off millennia of Dominion control. But now the ancient empire had gathered its full might for one decisive strike. Sarah Martinez studied the tactical display, where thousands of ships from dozens of species held position. The quantum sphere, now fully unlocked, hovered in a special chamber at the heart of the Prometheus, its surface a storm of patterns. "Dominion fleet approaching," Lisa Chen announced. "Massive energy signatures. They've reactivated technology we've never seen before. Ancient weapons platforms are coming online across the sector." The Dominion had shown its true face at last. The benevolent guardians were gone, replaced by the ruthless conquerors they'd always been. Their remaining fleets had abandoned all pretense of civilization, using weapons that violated their own laws of warfare. "They're desperate," Maya observed from her station, monitoring the quantum fields. "The consciousness suppression network is completely destabilized. Every world in their empire is awakening to the truth." The sphere's patterns suddenly shifted, and Sarah felt a presence touch her mind through the battle network. It wasn't human, or Nephilim, or any known species. It was far, far older. "We were not the first," the presence communicated, sharing memories that spanned millions of years. "We were the guardians before them, watching younger races grow, protecting them from threats beyond your comprehension. The Dominion were our students once, until fear and pride corrupted them." The sphere had been more than a repository of knowledge. It was a sentinel, left behind by these ancient guardians, waiting for a species with the right combination of traits to find it. Humanity's unique consciousness patterns, their adaptability and determination, had made them the key to awakening its full potential. "Multiple hyperspace signatures," Kishore reported. "The Dominion fleet is here." The void erupted with energy as tens of thousands of ships dropped into normal space. At their center was a vessel that dwarfed even their largest dreadnoughts, the Throne of Ages, seat of the Dominion's ruling council. "All ships, battle formation," Sarah commanded, feeling the quantum battle network pulse with unified purpose. "Today we fight not just for humanity, not just for our allies, but for the right of all species to forge their own destiny." The battle that followed would be remembered for millennia. The Dominion unleashed weapons that could tear holes in space itself, but the Allied fleet moved as one consciousness, their quantum-linked ships dancing through probability fields that made conventional tactics meaningless. Ghost dancers phased through planet-killing beams to deliver precision strikes. Nephilim warships combined their phase-shift technology with quantum fields to appear inside enemy formations. Arcturian gunships linked their weapons into networks that could saturate entire sectors with fire. But the true battle was happening on a deeper level. Through the sphere's power, through the combined consciousness of dozens of species linked in harmony, they began to understand the Dominion's greatest weakness. Their unity is an illusion, Maya realized, monitoring the quantum patterns. Their empire is built on suppression and fear. They'd forgotten how to truly work together. The Throne of Ages launched a final assault, its ancient weapons reaching out to rewrite the laws of physics themselves. But as its beams approached the Allied fleet, they met something unprecedented. The combined will of multiple species, their consciousness patterns reinforcing each other through quantum fields. "Now," Sarah commanded, "everything we've got." The sphere pulsed with blinding light as every ship in the Allied fleet fired as one. Their weapons, guided by unified consciousness and powered by technology that synthesized the best of every species, struck the Dominion flagship simultaneously across multiple probability states. Space itself seemed to warp as the throne of ages began to break apart, but instead of an explosion, there was a cascade of quantum energy, a release of potential that had been suppressed for millennia. Across the galaxy, the last of the consciousness suppression network collapsed. On thousands of worlds, beings felt their full potential unlock for the first time in their species' history. The Dominion's carefully maintained order crumbled in moments. In the battle's aftermath, as rescue ships moved to aid damaged vessels from both sides, Sarah stood in the sphere chamber one last time. The ancient presence touched her mind again, sharing a final message. "You have proven yourselves worthy successors," it communicated, "not through conquest or control, but through your ability to unite, to raise others up rather than suppress them. The galaxy needs guardians again, not rulers, but guides who understand the value of freedom and cooperation." 3 months later, representatives from hundreds of species gathered on a reborn Earth, terraformed back to life using technology shared freely among the allied species. The new Galactic Concordat would be different from the Dominion, a true federation of equals, dedicated to mutual growth and protection. Sarah watched the proceedings from the Prometheus's bridge, now orbiting the planet humanity had lost so long ago. They had come full circle, but this time they weren't alone. The quantum battle network had evolved into something more, a connection that allowed species to share knowledge and experience while maintaining their unique identities. "Ready to head out?" Lisa asked from her station. There were still Dominion holdouts to deal with, and dozens of worlds requesting help with their newly awakened potential. Sarah nodded, feeling the gentle resonance of the quantum fields that now linked all spacefaring species. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy not as conquerors or victims, but as catalysts for change, the spark that had ignited a revolution of consciousness across the stars. "Take us out," she ordered. "We've got work to do." The Prometheus disappeared into quantum space, leading a fleet that represented the dawn of a new age. The long night of the Dominion was over. The future belonged to all.